Good late afternoon and welcome to Innsbruck. We're live in the Olympia World Arena on the south of the city centre here in the Austrian Tyrol. It's the last two paraclimbing finals of what's been an excellent Para World Championships here in Innsbruck. I'm Charlie Bosco. Very pleased to say I've got very special guest, Team GB member Josh Senior alongside me.
Thanks very much.
Josh, we've just been down the front of the wall.
Yeah.
And you said these routes just make you want to climb. They're super aesthetic.
Absolutely, they look absolutely beautiful. The routes have just been set so well. You can see the effort that's gone in, it's great.
Yeah, the route setting team did a pretty perfect job yesterday. We had a good show. 2 out of the 3 routes were topped. We had a really good separation of the climbers. There wasn't one obvious move that was stopping people.
Yep, and even the one that wasn't topped, it was a real battle. And we saw that separation, so it was great. I thought it was really spot on.
Yeah, and today the men's AL2, which is Josh's category, will be climbing on the right, and on the left we've got AU2. And
so I'm equally excited about because we've got Matt, who's a British climber, working his way through that route, so it should be really exciting.
Yeah, 18-year-old Matt Phillips will be competing on that. Let's have a look at the lead wall. As you can see, speed on the right, boulder in the middle, lead on the left, and paraclimbing taking place on the lead wall. Steepest section overhangs by 54 degrees, and even the so-called mellow section at the bottom, it may not look it, but it's 18 degrees overhanging, 12 meters wide, 15 meters high.
Absolutely brutal.
There you see it. It's 5 panels that make up the lead wall here in Innsbruck. But because the changes in angle are relatively subtle, there's no really sharp changes, it gives the wall a nice, very aesthetic curving shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
So out first, we've got AU2. This is Matt Phillips there, the clear favourite coming out of the qualifiers. Topped both routes in the qualifiers, the only climber to do so. Pablo Blanco Barrios of Spain, first climber out.
You got a really competitive field here. It's exciting because it's a category that even at the last World Championships wasn't really there, and it's suddenly exploded. And Matt's, I know Matt quite well, and he's gone from having no competition to suddenly it's a world-class competition in a couple of years, and that's really exciting for paraclimbing, just to see that explosion and growth.
Yeah, when we covered the Paraclimbing Cup in Briançon back in July, that was 2 months ago. Where did that go?
Yeah, I know.
We were saying that paraclimbing's expanded because one of the problems they had, and they still have to a certain extent, particularly on the women's side, is amalgamation of categories.
Yep.
Which detracts slightly from the competitive element when you have people of radically different physical ability.
Definitely. And there's still room for growth here. So in this category, ideally there'd be a split between AU1 and AU2. And AU1 is above elbow and AU2 is below elbow. And obviously that gives you you can see he's using his stump below the elbow very effectively. And I think all of the guys that got through will. But at the moment, there's still an amalgamation there. So in the qualifiers, there were a couple of guys who should be AU1 who are battling with an above elbow amputation. And that's a very different game.
6 minutes to climb the route, as in lead climbing. They are on the lead wall. You might see that the climbers are effectively tied into the middle of a rope. They've effectively got 2 ropes on. Basically, they have albeit with quite a lot of slack in the system, a top rope and then also a second rope to prevent huge swings. And a lot of this wall will look familiar if you watched our 10 paraclimbing finals yesterday. It was a festival of paraclimbing, and they were these 2 huge ice cream cones, the first really noticeable features on this route. And these telephone holes have been moved around slightly, but they were also on the route yesterday. But the cones remain in place.
It's a really clever way of making an incredibly steep bit of ground, but also making it achievable. Because really steep overhangs for, someone missing an arm, it's just such a battle. So you've got to be really inventive as route setters to create routes that are still visually spectacular, still give these climbers an opportunity to really perform on an amazing route, but not make it absurd. And I feel they've really aced it with this setup. It's really cool.
Yeah, you've been very impressed with the setting this week.
Yeah, it's been proper world-class setting. as the sport of paraclimbing's growing, you know, in the past it's felt a little bit like it's a bit of a side note at times, and it's kind of, well, we've got these holds left, so we'll whack them on this spare bit of wall. But in this year, between
so we lose Pablo, who's looking strong up until there.
Yeah, he looked really comfortable, but
very hard when the feet cut loose like that.
Yeah, feet cut loose. Looks quite slopey on those holds, but yeah, strong first effort.
Yeah, he's onto that fourth panel of the wall. Let's just have another look where we lost him. He actually went a bit too far and looked like he lost his balance.
Yeah, if he'd latched that first time, I think he'd probably have been all right, but it's the bump to get there.
Sorry, you were saying?
What was I saying? Yeah, this year, between the World Cup in Bjornsson a couple of months ago that we're talking about, and this, it's just felt like a different class of setting all round for qualifiers and finals, and the entire experience has just felt slick, and it's been really good to see.
Maxim Mayrov now of Russia. Now, interestingly enough, he's the only climber in this category missing the left arm. The other climbers, the other three climbers, all missing the right, as we can see from Pablo. How that will change how he climbs. I mean, I'm inclined to think from watching paraclimbing, you know an awful lot more about it than me, but it would seem to me that it would even itself out.
Yeah, on the whole it does, and there's always going to be debate, and I think across a route it normally would. But I guess if there's a sticking point somewhere low down and a sticking point higher up, and it depends on the arm, there's always potential for a bit of contention there. But that's the challenge of route setting for paraclimbing, I guess. One of the challenges of route setting for paraclimbing, of which there are many.
Always keen to give route setters a shout out when they've done a good job, and doubly so in paraclimbing.
Oh, I can't. The complexities of it are beyond me. To try and create routes that work. And like yesterday, we had more than, to say it's easier today is a bit of a, understatement, but it's easier because we've literally got two routes in two categories, and they've been able to go, okay, we need to make this work. But yesterday we had a lot more categories and 3 routes to play with, and it's like, it's got to work for these guys, it's got to work for these guys, and they nailed it.
It's underway now. Second climber out at Pablo Blanco Barrios, excuse me. Just waiting for his score to come through, and there it is, 30 for him. He was just, give you some idea, make his way onto the fourth panel of the wall. Maxim now is just entering the third via these 2 big cones.
And that is really steep, isn't it? Was it 50 something?
54,
54?
yeah.
54 degrees.
So it's actually closer to horizontal than it is to vertical.
Yeah, it's great. Little roof section pretty much to work through.
This one of the examples where missing a left or a right arm could be crucial.
What can I use here? That doesn't look like a fun move to make.
No, it looks like he needs to get that rope free of his head as well.
Yeah. We had a couple of inversions during qualifiers, which was quite exciting, where we got the second rope caught under legs and things. What this is.
Yeah, rope burn's a bit of a hazard of the job, really, for paraclimbing, isn't it?
Yes, I got a bit on my neck.
I can see it,
send a picture to my wife saying it was rope, honest. It kind of looks like I've got a love right
I didn't want to pass comment.
Okay. So here, I guess, having the right hand is potentially going to be advantageous, because that crimp might be a little bit easier to get with the right. But
that's the lead
all
now for
speculation,
Maxim.
I guess, but it's potential.
That's the lead now for Maxim. So he's going to take home a medal. 4 people in the final. And with 2 still to come, he has got the high point.
He's definitely going home with something.
Trevor Smith of the US, a 17-year-old from America, and 18-year-old Matt Phillips from Great Britain, the remaining 2 climbers. Maxim on the wall right now.
Looking
23-year-old Russian. Looking really very strong. Again, can't help thinking this sequence going over to the left now will be slightly easier for those who are missing the right.
Yep.
He's got to go left, and then
he's got to latch that, and then I don't know, match it, I guess, before going out with the stump onto the volume. But That is oh!
And that's unlucky for him. He just had to, it's a long time to stand and think about it on that sort of angle.
Yeah. And as I was saying to you before, you can't see it well from the ground.
No.
In reality, you know, even these guys came off the stage and out into the stands to get a better look, but actually from here, we've got a better view of the holds and how they hold, but actually there's nowhere unless you get up into the stands where you can really see the top holds. So all the route planning in the world doesn't fully acclimatise you for what you're about to get.
Let's just have another look where we lost him. He's just trying to readjust.
Yeah.
I think if he'd managed to get his right hand up onto where his left stump was.
If he could have got the got that matched or swapped ideally, he might have pulled through there. But
I'm amused to hear, by the way, I remember you saying it in Briançon now that we were working together again. I've been referring to the stump as a non-paraclimber. You don't know what the official term is. I mean,
to be fair, I know of amputees who find the phrase stump unpleasant, but I'm not one of them, and I've not come across any paraclimbers that are one of them, so I feel like it's a fair use here. This guy, Trevor, is looking really strong. Watching him qualify, it's like this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, second only to Matt Phillips, topped the first qualifying route and was a couple of moves away on the second. Full separation of climbers. I don't like to get too clinical about it, but full separation of climbers from the qualifying round, so it's not going to be about time here, it's going to be about score.
Yeah, absolutely.
Already seen time be a factor in the Jesse Piltz gold medal here in the Olympia World. They have to be decided one way, but it doesn't always feel the most satisfying way of deciding a competition.
It's quite a bit of showboating, little thumbs up to the crowd. Got the Americans being nearly as rowdy as the British were yesterday.
Yeah, you Brits are the loudest team about.
Yeah.
One of the biggest teams as well, it would seem.
Yeah, now we put loads out. I think only America is bigger, I think. But yeah, we went all out yesterday with flags and everything, as I'm sure we are today.
Trevor onto the first of the phone holds.
Looking very calm and composed at the moment.
They're not messing around at all, Trevor. Now the clock appears, still over 4.5 minutes left. He's nearing
loads of time.
Nearing the halfway point on the route, so he's setting a pretty fast pace.
Yeah, absolutely. He's loving the crowd.
Again, turning to acknowledge the crowd.
Yeah. Moving into that pretty comfortably.
4 minutes 15 now for Trevor, so plenty of time. Time very, very unlikely to stop him here when you look how many moves are left versus how many he's completed in this time.
It's nice. Doesn't want to rush this. I think it's so critical to keep your feet on those holds, because I think the minute you're gone, they're just going to be too slopey to keep your hands on. He's done that very nicely, though. Yeah,
we saw when we lost Pablo there, you've got to keep your feet on through that move. And Trevor now powering up towards the high point.
Really nicely. He moves really well. It's great to see.
So if he can latch the next hold, he'll take the lead and guarantee himself minimum of a silver medal, and there it is.
There it is.
Matching this could prove...
It's going to be tricky.
Yeah, it could prove tricky. There's that screw on there.
Oh! That was well held. Very nice. But now that's potentially a high right foot if you can get it up behind him, just to give him some stability, but...
Just needs to free the rope, has done
now.
There
we go, good. We might have our first top here. Although those slopers do look fairly brutal to work through in the last few moves.
Trevor Smith, judging by the look on his face, there's some energy left. He doesn't look too tired.
He's looking good.
That's a good side pull for the right.
Yeah.
Just needs to bump the left hand up a couple of times and get the feet high. Chooses to get the feet high before bumping the left up.
He can keep that locked in. It could work well for him. Oh, he's just moving it. Oh, wow.
Bump up with the left. The top hold beckons. He's on the penultimate hold. Just needs to get his feet underneath him.
He's got the Americans behind him. They're standing. They're excited.
Oh, Trevor Smith headed up for the top hold. That's what Team America made of it.
Yeah, they're freaking. That was exciting. I don't know how much Matt will be able to hear from where he is in isolation, but I imagine he didn't miss that something good happened there.
No, that was spectacular.
So, hopefully he won't be getting too psyched out, but
this was Trevor Smith of the USA. Matt Phillips of Great Britain, the only climber left to go.
Whew, feel a little nervous.
Okay, feel no pressure from me to be impartial.
Thank goodness for that. I don't think I'd have been able to.
Yeah, you weren't even going to try.
No, I'm not, no. There wasn't any hint of that.
This was how it finished for Trevor
Matt
Smith.
winning this. I'm going to cry if he doesn't. And that was a very good climb from Trevor, though. There's full respect to him. It was a very good climb, so.
Can't get much closer than that. He got a good hand on the top.
That's the thing, you can't. And it will be if he does win it, it'll be very deserving. He's done very well, but come on, Matt.
So here is Matt Phillips, fourth and last climber out in the AU2 final here in the Olympia World in Innsbruck.
18 years old. Unbelievable. Interestingly, I think he's the only guy that's taped up his stump from the whole category.
Yeah, I've got to say, some of the holds for the right look pretty painful for Trevor Phillips.
Yeah.
Like those screw-ons, you're really yarding on him.
Yeah, and I know it's very different, and my stump never sees the light of day, really. But when I do have it out, it's pretty tender and sensitive. So I would want tape all over it if I was climbing. But what works for one doesn't work for another. Go on, Matt.
So Matt Phillips, no problem through the lower section.
If he keeps calm and composed, I feel like he should be able to top this. He's so strong at the moment. He was out here for some training a while ago, and he was leading 7As and stuff. And that on one arm is pretty phenomenal. Here the Brits getting excited. Fantastic.
Yeah, he's the last British climber out in the paraclimbing final.
Yeah.
This is final number 11. We had 10 yesterday. It was a fantastic afternoon.
Great. Really cool.
2 gold medals for Britain
Two
as
gold
well
medals.
yesterday.
We got one of every colour and 2 world champs to take home, which is pretty awesome. Oh, Matt, come on.
Crosses through with the left. That was the move that stopped
nice.
Pablo.
Yes, Matt, come on. Get your feet on. Oh, I feel so tense.
Matt Phillips of Great Britain. He's set an incredible pace.
Yeah,
4 minutes 15 left on the clock.
Quick. If he slips the top move, is great, but
yeah, remember,
at the same time, you don't want him rushing anything.
He's only got to match Trevor Smith's high point, in which case he'll win on count back to the qualifying round. Matt Phillips topped both the qualifying routes. Josh Senior just turning his microphone off just to double up on the encouragement.
TV are looking very tense down there. A lot of nervous faces, a lot of anticipation.
3 more holes to go. The next one is the penultimate one. Matt Phillips, there it is, finds the top. First climber to top the route. He takes a gold medal here in Innsbruck.
Absolutely amazing, what a hero.
There's Robin O'Leary, British coach.
Robin O'Leary's worked with Matt for a good few years now, and they're incredibly close. He's basically holding him up like oh, that's amazing. Another British World Champs, what we like. The GB crowd are expectedly happy. Oh, good lad.
Great scenes here in Innsbruck. Matt Phillips, just one of his many female admirers. So, great stuff from him.
He's put so much work into his climbing over the last couple of years. And I'm not suggesting for a minute that the other guys haven't, but I don't know. And I know the time and effort and the dedication that he's thrown in. And yeah, no one deserved to come home with a medal more than Matt today. And yeah.
This is how it finished.
So excited to see him winning it.
Matt Phillips, world champion.
Love it. Straight
so
in.
Confident on
Little
that
arm
big jump.
into the jump, and he's like, I know I've got this. Boom.
Accurate.
That's
as well.
a glory win.
Do you know who that reminded me of? Was Yanni Garnbrecht. Came out last and just never looked stressed.
Does what he's got to do.
Yeah, from leaving the ground, just never looked fussed.
The whole way. I know I've got this. I know it's in my capacity. Yeah, fantastic. So that's 3 world champs for Britain, 1 silver and 1 bronze. Fantastic.
Trevor Smith, Maxim Myrov and Pablo Blanco Barrios. As it turned out, they were in the same order as they were for the qualifying round. Matt Phillips topped both routes A, tops the final, a dominant win.
And again, a great route. We've got a top, we've got a near top, and then we've got a little bit of divide further down. Perfect setting, really, isn't it?
Yeah, great job from the setters. That's what we want. Last climber out, topping the route to win.
Yeah, spot on. Absolutely spot on.
So this is your category now. We're AL2. Frederick Leesing out first.
Super strong.
Guardia Ferrer, and then Urko.
Urko, the legendary Urko.
Yeah, best known paraclimber perhaps of all.
Yeah.
And then Thierry Delarue.
So Frey's looking strong at the moment. He potentially didn't have the absolute best training run-up because he got caught up doing a TV Survivor Series thing. So he ended up
as you do,
some kind of marooned on a desert island type show for Belgium telly. But he said the advantage was that he came back really light. So I guess it's got some perks. Barely ate for 6 weeks. Didn't really train, but then had a few weeks of training. But he's a strong boy.
Charlie Bosco and Matt, excuse me? I was just about to say Matt Phillips. We've just seen Matt Phillips.
We've just seen Matt Phillips.
Sorry. Josh Senior here, talking you through this final paraclimbing final. Number 12, it's AL2, your category.
Yeah.
As we watch him through the lower section.
Got a, not 100% sure how it works with Frey. As I understand it, it's more of a limb length issue as opposed to an amputation as such. So you can kind of see on his prosthetic, he's kind of got his foot and then an extender prosthetic to get his foot at the correct place. But he uses it incredibly well. He throws in the odd trad knee, and but yeah, strong boy, really strong boy.
And we were talking before we came on air about different prosthetics. Nice work.
Nice.
And you were saying that anything that has a knee joint in is actually probably heavier than a leg.
Yeah, well, certainly heavier and more cumbersome than worth using. So I think everyone's got their own knee joint in this category apart from Urko. So Urko doesn't climb with a prosthetic, and he embraces the weight loss of just having the one leg, which when you're on this kind of ground actually making a prosthetic stick, you know, Frey's a good climber, but you can see every so often his prosthetics pinging off holds and he's having to recover it. So you could argue that, you know, being lighter can be a benefit, but also the minute the ground levels out a little bit, having that extra point of contact is a huge bonus.
He's really beginning to fight now.
Yeah, he's feeling it. Oh!
And the slap up with the left hand to the right hand end of that volume.
Looked like
yeah, you could see him just
bit of a slap of desperation knowing he was pumping out, but he gave it his all. What more can you do?
You could see the pump kicking in a couple of moves before that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a strong climber, but he said I was chatting to him the other day, and he's he spends a lot of time red pointing routes and taking them, working really hard routes, but coming and flashing routes in competition just isn't what he does most of the time. It's sort of interestingly, he's one of not many lower limb amputees that use a leg that don't use the new evolved foot that's knocking around. It's kind of become the go-to thing for a lot of amputees, but he's clearly got what works for him.
And for those climbers like yourself, where your prosthetic begins below the knee,
yep,
you think it's perhaps slightly lighter than your left leg,
in theory,
but not nearly as useful?
Yeah, pretty much. In theory, prosthetics are lighter than the biological leg that you've lost, but obviously it's a dead weight as opposed to something that's living, breathing, and doing its thing. Albert's an interesting case though, because he's a below knee amputee, but doesn't use a prosthetic. So he's got a lot of padding around his knee, as you can kind of see as you zoom out, and so he uses his knee quite tactically quite a lot.
Okay.
But doesn't have has the knee joint, but doesn't use a prosthetic. I don't know if he's got specific reasons for that. I don't know if he, like some amputees, struggle with prosthetics in general and would opt not to use them, full stop. So it may be that's part of it. It may be that he's more comfortable climbing with less weight and making use of his knee. But whatever it is, he's a strong boy and he makes it work for him.
Have you experimented with climbing without your prosthetic?
Only when I've been having issues with my residual and with the stump. If I've got like part of amputee life, you end up getting blisters and sores and stuff, and sometimes you just have to admit defeat and go no leg for a couple of weeks. But I like to not think that means I have to stop climbing for a couple of days, and so I try it, but it's rare enough that it always feels very wrong and messy. But it does force you to find inventive positions. So you watch some of the, you'll watch Albert and Urko in due course, and some of the positions that they'll consort themselves into to try and make a move will just be quite fascinating to watch. And yeah, when you experiment with it, you realise just how much flexibility you need, more than I've got.
So you'd rather wear your prosthetic than do yoga?
Yeah, well, I'll blame the titanium holding my spine together for that. Doesn't allow for a huge amount of flexibility.
Albert now heading on to the steep section. It's a good camera angle there. You really get an idea of just how steep it is.
Absurdly steep. In my local wall, we've got a board that's 45 degrees, and that's, that's a projecting board where you try and get 3 or 4 moves and you feel like you're burnt out. So this is pretty filthy, but he's looking good.
And I'm going to ask the question that route setters hate about grades, but I think it's good for people to understand the grades that these guys are operating at. I mean, Urko's famously climbed 8A.
Yep. Yeah, he has. I don't know what grade I'd say this is. It's...
We're definitely talking...
We're talking...
mid-high 7s?
Yeah, I would say a 7B plus 7C at least.
I mean, and it's the same move again,
point,
stabbing
exactly,
up with the right. Yeah.
I didn't clock the time at all, but...
Yeah, they were actually separated on the qualifying round.
Were they?
Yeah,
okay.
so Albert will actually take the lead there on count back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it's just good for people to understand what we're
I
talking
mean,
about here. As I say, I understand the reasons why route setters don't like talking about grades, and athletes don't. It's not that relatable, but...
No, but it's still, we're not talking... When you start talking paraclimbing, we're not talking 5B heroes here. This is seriously, if you're winning this kind of comp, especially, every category has a slightly different sort of pitch point, I guess. But I think the AL2 and the RP3 that we saw yesterday, which no one topped in the end, they are seriously hard climbs. They're not... no one's no one's wimping out on the setting there and going, let's make it a Jugfest or anything like that. It's brutal.
Here comes Urko.
How old is Urko these days?
He's 37.
37.
15 years younger than our oldest gold medal winner yesterday, Alberto Conomassini.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing about paraclimbing. It doesn't have the same aging as most sports, I guess. Yeah, it is incredibly small.
Yeah, just talking about grades in relation to climbers down the wall, trying to figure out how hard these routes are. Mike Langley, who's here with us in Innsbruck for the World Championships, pretty hand-ring climb himself, a professional route setter, said he saw Urko in Rodea and got absolutely burned off by him.
Yeah.
Just got his backside handed to him by Urko at Rodea.
Yeah, I can believe it. He is just something else.
He was beaten in the qualifying round this time by Thierry Delarue.
Thierry came in and Bjornsson, and so I've not been on the series that long, but he certainly wasn't around in 2017 World Cups. He might, I don't know if he was taking a year off or if he's new to the scene, but he is an exceptionally strong climber. Just came in and won Bjornsson, and pretty conclusively.
He's the oldest climber in the final, Thierry. Urko, yeah, 38. Yeah. Thierry, 40, hails from Antibes, apparently. Which, not too shabby a place to come from, just next to Nice.
Yeah. Not bad.
So Urko on to the very steepest section.
So you can see Urko is such a high level of amputation. There's not a lot of...
Well, we've talked about his famous strength. He needed every bit of it there.
Phenomenal. I don't know how he held that. Incredible.
He needs to calm down again now. But his heart nearly came out of his mouth then.
I imagine there's some serious deep breathing going on. Regain composure. But to be in that position and to shake out and talk up, phenomenal. But yeah, as I was saying, if you look at his right side, there's very, very little leg there. And so to try and climb in a prosthesis there would be a nightmare, because you're not going to get a good fit, you're not going to get much control from the prosthetic at the best of times, and so you would just be adding a lot of extra weight for next to no gain, well, no gain at all, really.
He's now entering the move. It's 24, the move that stopped Frederick and Albert. And it's on the big blue volume that he's heading up to, that one there on the right, just at the top of your screen. Different
Got
method.
the tick mark and he's there. Fantastic.
Yeah, completely
Very
different
different. Allowed him to make that pretty static and controlled as well.
So this is Urko climbing himself into at least a silver medal.
Yeah.
Just Thierry Delarue to come.
That is spectacular. And apart from that, he's regained composure. He's looking pretty, dare I say, relatively relaxed, given the
all things
the intensity of the hold. He's bearing down on some pretty small holds there, but he's not, no power screams. He's still able to stop, shake out, talk up a little bit.
He's about to hit the head wall here.
He is a pro. There's no two ways about it. Whatever happens today and wherever Thierry comes, Urko's status remains pretty legendary.
Now he's beginning to need to shake out a little bit more.
I need this to work.
Taking a pretty long pause here.
Starting to get a bit more excited. They know he's gearing up for it. Great to see quite a good crowd here as well.
Yeah, the arena filling up nicely as Urko heads up. That's the last hold below the headboard. You can see the change in angle there.
I mean, there are some small holds.
Brilliant stuff from Urko.
Absolutely exceptional.
Yeah,
Good
nearly
work.
found a way onto that head wall. He doesn't, I'm just trying to see the look on his face. Oh, there we go.
He looks pretty happy.
I thought for a second there wasn't a smile there.
I think he was waiting for someone on the ground to tell him if he'd got the high point or not.
He's a competitor.
Got the thumbs up and he was able to relax. Like, I know I've got silver. Currently in the lead, you can't ask for more than that.
That was where the left hand popped.
That was phenomenal. How he held that. Absolutely exceptional.
So new high point set by Urko. This was as he was exiting onto the head wall.
Thierry is feeling.
So Thierry Delarue led the way after qualifying.
36 plus points.
Okay, so 36 plus for Urko. Here comes Thierry Delarue. The final climber of the Paraclimbing World Championships.
He's the only left leg amputee, I think.
Yes.
Whether that will be of benefit or detriment or make no difference whatsoever, who knows?
I have to say, watching, particularly watching Urko, you don't especially notice which leg is missing because he swings around so effectively.
He moves around so well.
It's almost like a central point.
Yeah, it kind of works almost like a monopod. Where I need it, it will be. Setting off at a flying pace.
40-year-old Thierry Delarue from Antibes in the south of France. Absolutely rocketing up here.
Through.
Wasting no time.
Oh.
This is some pace he's set through the lower section. It's 25 seconds to get to the steepest panel of the wall. Remember, we have got separation for the qualifying round, so it won't come down to time.
He is extremely strong, but he's also looking quite happy to let his feet swing around. Whether that will allow him to move quickly or be detrimental if he pumps out, I guess only time will tell. But
now he's onto that 24 move, no problem at all there.
Yeah, made that look very comfortable. Nice, very nice. And again, he's getting to this point and having to really look around at the holds, which again makes me think from the bottom, trying to work out the route well enough. It's just too hard to do. You can make some assumptions, but there's an element of, I'll have to see what's there when I get there. Which, when you're in that position, isn't what you want to do.
Thierry Delarue now, he's about to pull onto the head wall.
Couple of moves, and he's got it. Oh, it's very impressive. Oh, I guess we have our champion. Can he top it though?
There it is.
There it is.
The gold medal is decided. Can we find a top?
Be great to see him get it. Bring the gold home with a top though.
Yeah, Matt Phillips did the script writers proud. He did his bit on AU2.
Yeah.
Can Thierry Delarue, who's already claimed the gold medal, do his bit on AL2? He's absolutely rocketed up this route. It took him 2 minutes to get to the head wall.
Absolute phenomenal pace. And he's still looking pretty composed.
Yeah, no obvious signs of fatigue. Just beginning to slap down as he went up with the right hand. We lose him.
He's done enough though, he knows. Does he know?
Is he trying to read the screen? Is he looking down at the coaches? There we go.
We got the commentators in the stadium shouting, "You won, you won, you won," but I don't know if he could quite focus on what was happening around him.
There's Didier Dulac. Woo. Daniel Dulac, the French climbing legend there, and now French team coach, videoing with the straw hat. This was where he took it.
Phenomenal. And he deserved it. He's climbed so well this year, and he's just looked so strong on the wall. He's a very deserving champion in the category.
Josh, I mean, what we've seen here, what's your main emotion in regards to your own climbing now? Does it inspire to train harder?
Yeah, I need to up my game. As much as being 11th in the world is fun, it's not
exactly
where I want to be.
I mean, it's still pretty reasonable.
Oh, sure, but when the final
don't be too unhappy with 11th in the world, and we see confirmation. So
Thanks very much. When the final routes look like this, I just want to be in a position where I can play on them. And so must try harder.
Well, because of the Olympics coming up, the World Championships are moving to the odd years. So it was 2014, 16, 18. Next year we've got a World Championship. Is that a World Championship too in Hachioji next year?
As far as we're aware,
yeah.
the assumption is so, because traditionally they're always combined. There's no need for it to be so, because the paras aren't going to be at the Paralympics yet is what I hope that will be.
Yeah.
But it would feel like a backward step for it to not keep them together. The World Champs is the only time they're combined, and it's really great to see them combined. So I really hope that stays the same.
Josh Senior, thank you very much for your company.
Thank
really
you for having
appreciated
me.
your coming to hang out with us. Thank you guys at home for watching. We'll see you in about 40 minutes time for the women's bouldering final. But in the meantime, that was a fabulous Para World Championships. Thank you for watching.